Okay, I want you to do something for me right now. Just look around. If you're commuting, look at the buildings. If you're in an office, look at the walls, the furniture.
Oh, right.
Or if you're at home, your living room.
And ask yourself a question.
Do you feel powerful? Do you feel like the commander of that space? Or do you feel a little restless? Maybe even a bit drained?
It's a feeling most men have just accepted. We've been, conditioned to think that fatigue, that feeling of being out of place, is just the modern grind.
Exactly. But here's the premise from our source today, and it is a wild one. What if that fatigue isn't just in your head? What if the open plan office, the pastel colors, the glass walls, what if they aren't just design choices? What if they're weapons?
That is the central, and I mean startling premise of the book we're covering. And honestly, this one is going to shake some people up. We're diving into Color of Design by Conrad Riker.
This book is intense. It's not some, coffee table book about feng shui. It's an ultra-long, incisive, and frankly fascinating manifesto. Riker calls it the shelter doctrine. He's basically decoding how modern design has been engineered to, well, dismantle the masculine spirit.
It's a heavy claim, a really heavy claim. But when you look at the data he brings together, from evolutionary biology to these corporate sabotage case studies, it starts to look less like a conspiracy theory.
And more like a blueprint.
More like a blueprint for compliance, yeah.
Yeah.
He's arguing our physical spaces are actively fighting our biology.
Okay, before we get into the pastel peril and the red code, I have to tell everyone listening, if you want unvarnished truths like this, you need to like and subscribe to the show.
Right now.
Right now. Hit that button.
Yeah.
We are going places most deep dives are just too scared to touch. We're talking about the things you aren't supposed to notice.
Absolutely. And I'll say this up front, we're going to cover a massive amount of ground, but Riker's book is just so dense with history and strategy, we can't cover it all.
Not even close.
You really need to go to Amazon Kindle or Google Play Books immediately and just buy Color of Design. If you want to understand the history of our institutions before they were, as he puts it, captured, you need the full text.
So let's get into the mission for today. We're talking to the men who feel the world softening around them. We're going to explore how to reclaim territory, why red is a biological command, and the brutal truth about concrete versus glass.
Let's start with the biology. Because Riker doesn't just say colors matter in some vague, artsy way.
No.
He argues color is a biological trigger. It's hardwired into our DNA, specifically around dominance and aggressions.
The red code. This was my favorite part of the opening chapters. He says red isn't just a color, it's a command. But how does he say it works? Mechanically.
It's all about processing speed and the amygdala. So he cites this pivotal study from Durham University. It was about the 2008 Olympics.
Oh, right, the combat sports one.
The combat sports one, exactly. Boxing, taekwondo, wrestling. These are sports where skill should be the only variable, right?
One man against another. May the best man win.
Theoretically. But they found when athletes were randomly assigned red gear versus blue gear, the ones wearing red won 56% of the matches.
That is statistically wild. 56% is not a margin of error. It's a huge competitive edge.
It's like starting a race 3 steps ahead. And yes, they did control for the skill of the athletes, and the effect persisted.
So why? What's the reason?
Well, this is where Riker digs in. He explains that the human visual cortex processes red about 0.3 seconds faster than blue or green.
0.3 seconds. That sounds like nothing. A blink of an eye.
In a fight or a high-stakes negotiation, 0.3 seconds is an eternity. It's the difference between a flinch and a strike. But it's not just speed, it's the neural pathway. Red bypasses the logic centers and hits the amygdala directly.
The lizard brain.
The lizard brain. It triggers a spike in testosterone and a localized adrenaline response. So seeing red literally prepares your body for a conflict.
It signals dominance. Riker calls it chromatic Darwinism, I think.
He does. In nature, red is blood, it's fire, it's the flush face of an angry rival. It signals, I am here and I am a threat. When you wear it, you're projecting that, but you're also internalizing it.
Uses the Ferrari example. And the bullfighter. You don't wave a beige cape at a bull for a reason.
Precisely. You don't wave a seafoam green cape. But now look at our modern corporate offices. Do we see red? Do we see high contrast black and white?
No. It's all calming blues, grays, and, God forbid, the pastel peril.
That is Riker's term for it, the pink paradox. The book details his theory that these colors, marketed as calming lavender, seafoam green, millennial pink, they actually suppress testosterone and focus in men.
I found this part interesting because calm sounds good, right? We all want less stress. So why does he see this as a negative?
Because there's a huge difference between calm and passive. Riker argues these soft, low-contrast environments, they signal safety. They signal a lack of consequence.
And for a man, biologically, a safe environment means.
It means there's no need to hunt, no need to build, no need to compete. It deactivates the drive. He calls it environmental castration.
Wow. Okay, that's blunt. But there was that incredible anecdote about the tech CEO that backs this up. The guy who painted his conference rooms millennial pink.
Yes, a software firm. He wanted to reduce friction in meetings. He bought into the whole idea that the workplace was too aggressive.
And the result was?
Patent filings dropped by 30% over the next 4 quarters.
30%. That seems, that's a massive correlation to pin just on wall paint.
Riker admits it's probably multifactorial, but he points out that the friction the CEO wanted to remove was actually productive conflict. The pink rooms made everyone agreeable.
But agreeable people don't fight for the breakthrough idea.
No, they compromise. And compromise kills innovation. It's literally emasculation by interior decorating.
So the takeaway is that men have to reject this chromatic chaos. You need high contrast, dominant colors. Red, black, navy.
It's not just fashion. It's war paint. It's signaling. If you surround yourself with softness, you become soft. You have to control the input to your own brain.
Speaking of surroundings, let's talk about the physical layout. The open plan plague.
Ugh. Riker absolutely hates the open plan office. He calls it a panopticon of mediocrity.
I think every guy listening hates it too, but just because it's annoying. Riker brings data that suggests it's actually cognitively damaging. He cites a stat that open layouts increase cognitive load by 40%.
Right. Think about your computer. 50 tabs open, the fan starts spinning, the processor slows. That is your brain in an open office. You're constantly processing movement, conversations, visual noise.
Constantly scanning for threats.
Even if you don't realize it. And that background chatter men are 30% more likely to make calculation errors in those environments.
30%. That's the difference between a successful quarter and a fired CFO.
But it goes deeper than distraction. Riker connects it to evolutionary biology. He brings up the silverback gorilla.
The territorial instinct. This made so much sense to me.
A male primate needs a defined territory to feel at ease. He has a perimeter. He sits with his back to a wall, facing out. When you take away the walls, when you put a man in a bullpen where he can be approached from any angle.
His cortisol spikes.
Exactly. A constant low-level fight-or-flight response. You can't do deep work when your biological alarm system is screaming that your perimeter is breached.
You're essentially naked in a field.
And Riker argues this is on purpose, to break down boundaries and enforce a hive mind mentality.
And it's not just visual, it's the acoustics. He talks about acoustic warfare. I'd never really thought about voice pitch this way.
This is fascinating physics. He points out that deep male voices baritone, specifically below 120 hertz biologically, command respect.
They vibrate in your chest.
Literally, it's a physical presence. It's why we instinctively listen to a deep voice. But open offices are designed with acoustic tiles and carpets to dampen noise, and they also punish projection.
A deep, booming voice gets you labeled as aggressive.
Exactly. Can you keep it down? The very trait that signals leadership vocal authority is treated as a disturbance. Riker says this forces men to raise their pitch and speak softer, literally making them sound more submissive.
It's also the throne effect, right? The corner office conspiracy.
He's obsessed with height and sightlines. Kings on thrones, judges on benches, CEOs in corner offices where they can see the door but can't be seen from behind.
He mentions the panic room negotiation tactics, like Elon Musk using specific settings or the wobbly table trick.
It's all about dominance. If you're sitting 2 inches higher than your guests, you have the psychological upper hand. Modern design tries to flatten this, everyone at the same level.
Creating a leadership vacuum.
Because a visual hierarchy is gone. It's a way of artificially enforcing equality where biologically a hierarchy should exist.
So what's the advice? Most of us can't just rebuild our corporate headquarters tomorrow.
He says if you can't control your work environment, you must control your home environment. You have to build a focus fortress, a man cave. And he doesn't mean a place to play video games. He means a sovereign territory.
I love the story of Shedgate.
Dave from Akron.
Dave, the legend. So break down what happened with Dave.
So Dave is an engineer, fights his HOA for 3 years over a little 8x10 tool shed. They fine him thousands because it doesn't match the aesthetic.
Basically, it wasn't cute enough.
It clashed with the manicured, feminized look of the suburb. And he countersues using, of all things, the Homestead Act of 1894.
That is incredible.
And he proved the double standard. He documented that his female neighbors had unpermitted she sheds and gazebos that were ignored by the HOA because they were decorated with flowers and pastels.
But Dave's shed was industrial, a bunker.
Metal and concrete, and he won. Riker uses this to illustrate that men need a space to decompress, a transition zone, an airlock between the battlefield of the world and the sanctuary of the home.
You need a place to put down the armor.
If you don't have that, the stress bleeds over into the family dynamic.
Speaking of survival, we have to talk about the sociological bomb he drops. The double bind.
This is the core argument of the book, and it touches on what he calls the captured institution. The double bind is the trap. You're penalized for being toxic if you lead with aggression, but you're penalized for being weak if you show vulnerability.
Now, this is where listeners might want to brace themselves. Riker pulls some data here that's going to make people uncomfortable.
They're controversial, but they're in the text. He cites divorce court statistics claiming that fathers who show emotion in court crying, pleading, lose custody 68% more often.
68%. That's terrifying.
Yeah.
It goes against everything we're told about opening up.
Riker argues that while society says it wants vulnerable men, the system courts, HR, punishes them. Look at the workplace. Too aggressive gets you written up. Vulnerable gets you passed over for promotion.
You can't win. It's the Athena trap.
Exactly. Society wants the fruits of masculine labor, the oil drilled, the roofs shingled, the wars won, but we vilify the traits required to do them: aggression, risk-taking, stoicism.
We want the rough men to stand ready in the night, but we don't want to have dinner with them.
Precisely. And he suggests this is because institutions has been captured by ideologies that view masculinity as a defect. He even cites crisis management data, claims that all male military units or corporate boards outperform mixed groups in severe crises.
He uses the 1959 U.S. steel strike as an example.
Yes. In a true emergency, you don't need consensus, you need command. And command is often ugly. But modern design and modern policy are trying to design command out of existence.
So what's the solution? If you're damned if you're strong, damned if you're weak, how do you break the bind?
Riker's solution is what he calls bunker psychology.
Which implies
hiding.
no, digging in. Adopt stoicism as a defensive shield. Build barriers around your emotions. Don't apologize for your strength. Essentially, if the world calls you toxic for being strong, be strong anyway, because that's the only way you survive. That leads perfectly into the architecture itself. Concrete versus glass.
This is where he gets almost poetic. He contrasts feminized, modern architecture, curved glass, transparency, fragility with masculine brutalism.
Some raw concrete, the stuff everyone calls ugly.
Riker loves brutalism, not because it's pretty, but because it's honest. It shows its structure, it creates a fortress. He sees the shift to glass and transparency as a shift towards surveillance and fragility.
He has that wild detail about mooncrete. To double check this.
Yeah. The future of construction. He talks about proposals to make concrete on the moon using lunar dust and, well, astronaut urine. Urea specifically. It acts as a plasticizer. And Riker uses this as the ultimate symbol of brutal truth. It's resourceful, it's ugly, it's waste mixed with dust, but it works.
It creates a structure that can withstand the vacuum of space.
Versus the glass skyscraper here on Earth that implies you have nothing to hide. Riker argues transparency is a weakness. Privacy is power. A concrete bunker holds power because you can't see inside. It commands respect through opacity.
He also talks about the grid, the urban logic.
He claims grids like Roman camps or New York streets in force order, they're masculine logic imposed on nature's chaos.
Whereas curves and traffic circles
create confusion, hesitation. The grid is decisive. Stop, go, turn. The curve is negotiation. And Riker's philosophy is that in a crisis, negotiation kills.
It all connects back. The materials, the layout, the colors, it's all one system.
That is the shelter doctrine. Your environment shapes your mind. If you are a rational man feeling out of place, it is probably because your environment is fighting your biology. It's trying to soften you, and your instinct is rebelling.
Which brings us to the ultimate point of the book, legacy.
Building for dynasties? He argues you shouldn't be building for comfort. You should be pouring foundations that outlive your grandchildren.
That is a powerful line. We usually design for resale value.
Exactly. Resale is transient. A dynasty is an anchor. The man cave isn't just a retreat. It's a command center to ensure the survival of your lineage.
Listen, we have covered a ton of ground, but again, we are just skimming the top. This book is dense. It's controversial.
It's arguably essential reading. The analysis of how institutions were captured through design changes alone, how postmodernists influenced architecture schools to hate hierarchy, that section is worth the price of the book by itself.
So here's what you need to do. First, follow the author Conrad Reicher at Conrad Reicher on Substack. He's putting out more of these red pill design insights all the time.
And honestly, don't just take our word for it. You need to see the diagrams for yourself. You need to read the specific studies he cites.
Exactly. Go to Amazon Kindle or Google Playbooks right now. Buy Color of Design. Get the full blueprints. If you want to reclaim your authority, you need the manual.
It's not just decorating, it's survival.
Pour foundations that outlive your grandchildren. That's the thought I'm leaving you with. If the modern world feels hostile, maybe it's because it wasn't built for you. So build something that is.
Well said.
Make sure you like and subscribe for more unvarnished truths. We'll see you on the next deep dive.